Your Omaha HIgh with Andy Greenberg is being sponsored by OnCue Marketing, Best Buy Benches, OmahaFastFoods.com, Certified Transmission, Omaha Magazine, Monahan Financial, Shold-It, NP Dodge Real Estate, Valpak, Kohl's Pharmacy, Centrus Federal Credit Union, Ideal Water. Welcome to Your Omaha HIgh with Andy Greenberg, the show that will leave you feeling great about yourself, Omaha's heroes, and Omaha, where we live, work, and play. So park yourself on the bench and have fun. Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Your Omaha HIgh with Andy Greenberg, the show that you return to each and every week to learn about new ways to improve your life. No matter where you are right now, there's always ways to make it better. And we're going to learn it in 3 different ways. Number 1, you're going to hear 4 new motivational vignettes that you've never heard before, where we take common everyday objects and turn them into something inspirational with a very powerful personal message for you. Then we're going to profile a nonprofit here in Omaha, Nebraska that does wonderful things for the seniors in this town. And then you're going to be treated to something really special. We have an individual with us today, an 11-year-old, who won the state competition for public speaking, who not only that went on to the nationals and is also a performer on stage who sings and who acts. And you know how we are all afraid of public speaking. We're afraid of really getting up there. Not this 11-year-old. And his name is Danny Denenberg. Danny, I look so much forward to talking to you in just a few minutes, as well as everybody else. But first, here's what we're going to start with. How many of us today play golf? If you play golf, I want you to raise your hand. Now, if you're a golfer, I want you to even raise your hand even further, because there is a big difference between somebody that plays golf and somebody who is a golfer. So let me explain to you what I mean. Let's assume for a minute that today's the day that you want to go out and play golf. But there's a problem. It has just stopped raining. It is windy. It is cloudy. The grass in the greens are just awful. And you're up there and you're ready for that first tee shot. Every element is against you. So here is what the person that plays golf does. They make excuses. They say, well, you know, the ball might not go that far. My driver might not be that good. But then the individual who's a golfer says the following, you know what? Give it to me. Give me all those elements. I'm going to go ahead and fight those elements because I'm going to drive that ball. Nothing is going to stop me. That's the difference. Now, let's take these 2 individuals and bring them back into real life. Because in real life, there are elements that are against you. In real life, it could be business. It could be personal. It could be perceived. It could be real. The individual who just plays golf says, oh boy, I got all these excuses why things aren't happening. The guy that is the golfer will say, oh no, you throw it at me, because anything that I need to do to overcome these things, I'm going to do. So I want each and every one of us to become a golfer. I want each and every one of us to fight the elements, learn how to get through them. If that means a harder swing, that means you have to actually go out and practice more, go ahead and do it. Because once you're a golfer, there's a lot of success coming your way. Now, you know, back in 1908, a very important thing happened. Every one of us today, when we make coffee at home, we buy the coffee grounds, and then we put them in this like percolator thing or a Keurig or whatever you have. And you know what happens? There is a coffee filter. That filter actually was developed in 1908 by a housewife. And she did it for just one reason, and that is to get the bitterness out of the coffee. She used it as a filter. And you know, today, if we have bitter coffee, we don't like it, which is why each and every one of us wants to have the proper filter to get the bitterness out of the natural part of the coffee. Now, the same thing we can do in each and every one of our lives. I'm bold enough to admit that in everybody's life, there is some bitterness. There is some bad taste. There is some bad history. Now, we can do a couple of things, can't we? We can be pre-1908 and just live with it. Or we can use our own filter, our mental filter. And we can take the bitterness, the memories that are bad, the things that we think are bad but really aren't, and filter them out of our everyday life. All we need to do is to think like that housewife back in 1908. And when you have a bitter thought in your mind, begin to get rid of it. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about is when we go into hotel rooms. We check into a hotel. We've got a reservation. I don't care where it is. It could be at a Four Seasons. It could be at a Super 8. Any place. We go in and we check in. And we have pre-reserved the room. I have a question for you. When we do that, how many of us ask for an upgrade? Now, you do not have to be a member of their frequent stay club. You can actually go to that individual person who's checking you in and simply say, what kind of an upgrade do you have for me today? You know what? When you ask for it and when it is available, you're going to get it because they do that for you. But the only thing that we have to do is ask for it. They want to give it to you. They'll never offer it, by the way. But the same thing when you rent a car. If that bigger car is out there, all you need to do is ask for it, especially if it's not going to be rented. They want to treat you that way. But you have to ask for those upgrades. Same thing in life. There are upgrades in life that are available to you right now. There are upgrades in life that other people have right now. Why do they have it and you don't? Very simple answer. Just like when you check into the rent-a-car, just like when you check into the hotel, you didn't ask for it. You have got to ask for upgrades in your life. They're there either in the job, either in promotions, in anything that you want. Those upgrades are available. And once you get those upgrades, then you can go on stage and then you can begin to speak. Because one of the biggest fears people have, and we're going to talk about this in a moment, is public speaking. We're afraid of messing up. We're afraid of being judged. There's nothing wrong with being judged, by the way. If you have a mindset that says, when I'm judged, I'm going to be judged positively and not negatively, what's going to happen to you? Your fears are overcome. When you practice, your fears are overcome. And Danny, a little bit later, is going to tell us about it. So let's go ahead and review these 4 very important motivational vignettes. Are you going to play golf anymore? No, you're going to be a golfer. You're going to go ahead in life and combat those elements that are after you, that are stopping you from playing your best game. When you begin to think about bitter thoughts in your lifetime, what are you going to do? Just like that housewife in 1908, you're going to be putting a filter on. And when you check into life, you're going to ask for upgrades. And you're going to learn a little bit later that the art of public speaking, the art of performing, the art of entertaining is within each and every one of us. And as we always do on this show, we always talk about a nonprofit. So the question that I have for you today is, what do people do to make seniors happy? Well, there is an organization called the Merrymakers Association right here in Omaha, Nebraska. And the Merrymakers Association is a nonprofit organization dedicated to brightening the lives of seniors and the elderly through music and laughter. Merrymakers provides live musical performances to over 130 area senior living facilities. Each care center receives a monthly visit from Merrymakers at no cost to the facilities. Hands clap, toes tap, and sleepy eyes twinkle at Merrymakers performances. Residents enjoy an opportunity to move to music that sparks a happy memory. Merrymakers' mission is to improve the quality of life for seniors by encouraging active participation, increasing social interaction, and sparking memories through professional entertainment. Seniors can hear the difference in language skills that comes with singing along to their favorite tune. Seniors can relive the memories sparked by a song when afterwards someone tells us that they played that tune at their wedding. Merrymakers does some tremendous work, and they want to share this impact with even more individuals. For more information about these folks at Merrymakers, visit www.merrymakers.org and be part of the people here in Omaha that allow seniors to be happy. And now, the moment that we've been waiting for. Sitting right next to me is Danny Denenberg. And let me tell you a little bit about Danny so you can be prepared for something that is absolutely remarkable. Now, when each and every one of us has an opportunity or we're asked to do a public speaking and to give a speech in front of people, be it 2 or be it 1,000, what do? We're afraid. We don't want to do that. If we get an opportunity to sing in front of people, well, I can't sing. If we ever ask to act in front of people, I can't act. But here is an 11-year-old who says to the following words about acting and about public speaking, there is no fear. I'm good at what I'm doing. And I started out. This gentleman won the state contest in public speaking. This gentleman was one of the top 10 public speakers in the United States of America. This individual has performed in musicals. This individual has acted on stage. Well, enough. We're going to learn his secrets. Danny, once again, thank you so much to the show, and let's get started. So you are a public speaker.
Yes.
And you give speeches to organizations, to schools, and you won this contest. Now, what made you get into this whole field of public speaking that everybody's afraid of to begin with?
Well, at first, it started out as just a school assignment. It was assigned to us.
Right.
And then I realized, hey, it's basically like acting.
Okay.
You go on stage, you entertain people by telling them something or showing them something, and you give them something to go home and tell their friends with.
About this great person that they saw performing and or entertaining.
Yeah.
So before you got this assignment, is it fair to say that you've done some acting beforehand?
Yes.
And when did you start?
I started dancing on stage when I was 4.
I'm sorry, did you say 4 years old?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then I did a JCC plays.
Right.
And then I went to the Playhouse and I did A Christmas Carol and Les Mis, and I just loved it. It was so fun.
Now, wait one second. Les Mis, that's a very, very powerful performance. Broadway's been on Broadway, there's been a movie. And how old were you in Les Mis?
I was 10.
10 years old. So from 4th grade up to 10 years old, you really packed in a marvelous portfolio. You got to feel good about that.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you had that speech assignment, and apparently you did well. So what happened after that?
After that, I went to district.
District, okay.
And I won first.
First place in district, okay. And then?
I went to state, and I won first in state.
Now let's talk about that state for a moment. I can understand district, okay, fine. But you get to state, how many people were there that you were competing against?
11 other people.
11 other people. Now, when you get up there on the stage, or when you were thinking about these 11 other people, just between you and me, did you expect to win?
No.
No.
It was really cool.
Cool to
All
win.
the blood just ran out.
When they announced that you were the winner,
relaxed,
all
yeah.
the blood ran out,
Yeah.
and you felt pretty good about yourself.
Yes.
Now, how much practicing did you have to do?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
And tell me a little bit about what you do when you have to practice for a speech.
Well, you write your speech.
Right.
You have somebody help you write it. And then a little bit every day, you have to memorize it, or if you don't have to memorize it, you have to do it a little bit every day.
Right.
To get familiar with it.
And then you're up there on stage, and you've done all that preparation, and you gave it that great big performance, and when they announced you as a winner, I love that expression, all the blood drained. And now, were you nervous?
Yes.
Yes. And what did you do to overcome your nerves?
I practiced.
Uh-huh.
I made sure I knew my speech. I made sure I knew what to cover for my speech if I messed up or something.
Yes. And so you trained yourself if there were mistakes.
Yes.
Now, that's what I want everybody to start to really learn to understand. Because what would you have done in that situation? What would you have done if somebody gave you an assignment and says, hey, I want you to go out and give a speech? Well, the lessons that we want to learn from Danny is, number one, it is relatively easy. It is. All you have to do is practice. All you have to do is learn what to do if a mistake comes up. So then that way you get rid of your fears. That way you get rid of your nerves. And it does, that particular philosophy can be transferred to anything. It just doesn't have to be public speaking. If there's anything that you want to do that you've never done before, for example, fixing a car, for example, just doing something brand new in sports, all you have to do is keep it on your mind. All you have to do is say to yourself, I've got to practice it, and I've got to learn what to do in the event a mistake happens. And when that happens, all your fears go away. But you know what? It doesn't stop from there. So you continued on after the state, and then you went ahead and you competed for the nationals?
Yes.
I mean, that takes a lot of nerve, Danny, to think that you, as one of the millions of kids your age, are going to compete in a national speech contest. Now, what gave you the nerve to do that?
Well, I had won state, and we had to send in a video, so I knew it wasn't in front of an audience.
Right.
And I was just going to see what happened.
So what you were trying to tell me here, it was just Danny Denenberg being Danny Denenberg.
Yes.
The confident but not cocky individual. The person that says, you know what, all I got to do is do my best. And when I do my best, people will recognize it. And that's all you have to do too. All you have to do is be your best, and somehow that will shine above some of the others. So there was a representative from each one of the states.
Yes.
And I understand we don't have the exact number, but there were 40 different people that came in at least lower than you, which means you were one of the top 10.
Yes.
How do you feel about that, being known as one of the top 10 individuals in the country?
I am proud of myself
Sure.
for working on it and doing it.
Sure. Now you're going to compete again?
Yes.
When you're in the same grade, or does it go up by grades?
Yes. In the school I go to,
Yes.
you do it in 5th and 6th grade.
Okay, and so you're going to do it again?
Yes.
What are you going to do different this time? Practice harder, get a harder speech? What do you think?
I think I'm going to change my speech so that there's more information maybe in my speech. Maybe something to take home.
Sure, excellent. So a message for people.
Yes.
To make them feel good, and not only make your performance memorable, but what you say memorable.
Yes.
So let's go a little bit now to your musical and acting. I know you're part of a group here in Omaha, Nebraska, Karen Sokolov-Javich and friends.
Yes.
You've done performances there. You love to do that.
Yeah.
And you recently were recognized because you went back to New York City and tried out for a part in a play. I mean, who does that at your age? Danny, come on. So tell me something about that. What was the part, and where, and you went to New York. What was the experience like?
Yeah, I was trying out for Ralphie in A Christmas Story.
Okay.
I love the play and the musical. It's very fun. And I went there. It was in a little studio on the 3rd floor of an apartment.
Okay.
And it was just me singing in front of the pianist, the director, the choreographer, and the casting directors.
That had to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Now, did you go there expecting to get the part, or were you just thrilled with the experience?
I was just thrilled with the experience.
And now I understand in Omaha, Nebraska, they're going to be doing the same play at the Rose Theater.
Yeah.
And you have aspirations of taking the part here in Omaha.
Yes.
And
I tried out.
all right. And hopefully we'll see your name up in the marquee, because I know they haven't selected the actors yet. And I know one thing about you. When you get that notification that you got the part, you know what's going to happen to Danny? I know. All the blood is going to drain down, because the pressure has been relieved, and he's going to feel real good about himself. Now, what do you like better? Do you like doing public speaking better? Do you like singing better, or acting better?
I like
Tough
acting.
choice. Look at tough choice. You like acting, okay?
Yes.
Because?
I just like singing's good, but
Right.
I feel like when you're acting, you can do more with your body. You can do more with showing what you want to tell the audience, basically.
And you do that by using your hands, by using gestures. Now,
By words.
By words.
Yeah.
Do you have to follow the director's guidance, or can you do it on your own, or combination of both?
A combination of both, because you have to obviously do the director's steps if there's a fight scene or
Sure.
choreography.
Sure.
But you put a little of your own imagination of your own character into it. What
And-
does your character do, right?
Right, and it's Danny being Danny, but also Danny being somebody else.
Yeah.
Now, there's a very important lesson for each and one of us about a director in a theater, or a director in a movie, or in a musical. Now, what is that? We all know that when we come to work, we have our own personal talents and skills. We love them. We know that what they are. We know what we can do. And sometimes our boss comes over and says, well, you got to do it this way, you got to do this, you got to do it that. And all of a sudden, what happens? Resentment builds up. And the moment resentment builds up, what does that do for the relationship between you and your boss? Well, it provides conflict. But what Danny just taught us is he knows his skills, he knows his talents, but yet he seeks out the direction on exactly what to do with it to play that part, the way it was intended to be played, the way the director intended it, the way the original writer intended it. That's all we have to do in life, take our skills and talents and let a director, in this case our boss, tell us how to modify it, how to make it better for us. So let me ask you this question. Most adults, as I started off with, they hate public speaking. It's the biggest fear that they have. So let's assume you have a friend, and the friend says, Danny, my boss or my friend, they're making me give a public speech. And they look to you as one of the top 10 speakers in the country. And they say, Danny, give me some advice. What are you going to tell them?
I'm going to tell them that you have to know your speech to be comfortable with speaking in public. So like I said, I practiced. You have to practice. You don't have to do all in one day. Just do it a little bit every single day. And once you know your speech, you can start interacting with the audience.
So that the audience becomes part of that speech.
Yeah.
So that all of a sudden what your words are become rather personal to them.
Yeah.
And once you do that with some of the skills you just talked about, it becomes that easy. So what happens if somebody has a fear and they say, Danny, help me through my fears? What are you going to tell them?
I can tell them, pretend that in the audience, it's just your mom, your dad, or your brother or sister or aunt or uncle, and they're all just sitting there smiling and laughing at you, and it's just like you're having a family meeting about something really funny.
Now, either smiling at you or smiling with you is probably what we want to say, because if people understand that people are going to smile at them, then they become concerned about judgmental. But if you have somebody that smiles with you, if you have somebody that supports you, that the way Danny just described it, that is absolutely terrific for you, because that support system that you develop for people to help you take your skills from where you are to a higher level, and they assist you with it, that's what life is all about. And by the way, we've said this before, if we're seeking out people to support us, we certainly have an obligation to support others. So if somebody ever comes over to you and says, hey, would you support me in my quest to improve myself, to take my skills, to take my talents, and to make them even better, your answer is going to be very obvious. Yes, that's what you need to do. Now, let's take it even a step further. So you like acting. What's your favorite role? Would you want to be somebody romantic, adventure, an action, comedy? Which one do you like?
Comedy, by far.
By far. Why?
I just like either making people laugh or laughing. I like a show that's funny and entertaining at the same time.
And that goes back to something you said before, because when they leave that performance, they want to remember it. And people have a tendency to remember comedy. Now, I got to tell you something interesting. You don't date yet. And I know your dad would not want you to date for a long, long time, and your mom.
Not till 16.
So I'm going to turn for that. Oh, you've got that all patterned out already. So here's an interesting point. You know, when you date, whether you're 16 or 25 or 80, it doesn't matter. You know, the first thing people say is, did that person make you laugh? And if they did make you laugh, then that is something that is absolutely memorable. And Danny right here just discovered that at that age. Now, I'm going to take it to the next level for you. What's your goal in life?
My goal in life is to act and work my hardest in whatever I do. Don't do it halfway, but do it all the way, as best as I can.
You know, I couldn't have said that any better. That was just beautiful. Work as hard as you can. Don't do it halfway. Do it all the way. And I understand that. So one day, where do you want to end up acting? Where do you want to see your name?
I want to go to a Broadway theater on a comedy, a straight play comedy of some Woody Allen or Mel Brooks play.
And what are you going to do to get there?
I'm going to keep acting, keep doing vocal lessons, dance lessons. I'm going to keep doing shows until I get there.
And you know what? Each and every one of us have just learned a very important lesson. Here's an 11-year-old with a goal. Now, some of us might be thinking, okay, you know what? Every other kid at 11 years old who's been on the stage want the same thing. But here's the difference. He's got a plan. He's got an idea. Do you? In your goals, in your aspirations, in your dreams, do you have the same method already selected on how you're going to get there? And that's one of the reasons I brought Danny on the show as an 11-year-old to teach us adults how to get what we want out of life. Now, am I surprised at the quality of his answers? Yeah, because very few 11-year-olds will think like Danny does. And we know he's going to be successful. So if you get there at age 15, what are your parents going to say? You got to drop out of school? You're going to be on stage? Between me and you, again, how are they going to handle that?
Well, there's usually tutors, so I think it'll be okay. But
So you guys have already discussed that?
oh, yes, yes.
All right, glad to hear that. So let's recap what we learned this week on Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg. We learned the 4 motivational vignettes about golfing, about coffee filters, about hotel room upgrades, about public speaking. We learned about Merrymakers, an organization that gets people to smile a lot. And we learned from Danny Denenberg, someone who's achieved a lot at the age of 11, a nationally recognized speaker, a person who's been on stage musically and acting, a person who has an aspiration to be on Broadway. Between you and me, he's going to make it. Between you and me, when will you achieve your goals? When will you be able to raise your hand high, as we do on Omaha High with Andy Greenberg, and say to yourself, I just learned a lot in this particular show. This show, as Danny said earlier, will give us the information to move a lot further ahead in life. Danny, thank you so much for being on Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg. I say that on behalf of myself and everybody that has seen you. Next week on Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, we have an individual who will teach you about personal leadership, someone who will teach you about the climate in the Omaha environment, someone who will teach you about how you can take your personal life and your professional life and make it so beautiful and make it so wonderful. Who is it going to be? Somebody that I actually did a radio show with, an individual by the name of Karen Kleinberg. She came to America, made a great life for herself and her family. So be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode. Turn your TV sets on, let your friends know, let your children know that when you turn to Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg, you'll have the opportunity to really go ahead and have a great life. We'll see you again next week on Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg. In the meantime, if you're in Omaha, stay high. We'll see you then. Your Omaha High with Andy Greenberg was sponsored by OnCue Marketing, Best Buy Benches, OmahaFastFoods.com, Certified Transmission, Omaha Magazine, Monahan Financial, Shold-It, NP Dodge Real Estate, Valpak, Kohl's Pharmacy, Centrus Federal Credit Union, Ideal Water,